G'day everyone, welcome to Roo Hammer Season 3, Episode 13. And this will be our Round 3 review of the Warriors' tense victory over the Tigers in the first leg of the prestigious Mike Doreen Cup, as you guys know. Thank you for joining us for another episode and made possible by our wonderful Patreon subscribers. There it is, the Mike Doreen Cup. Yeah, big shout out to you guys who support us on Patreon. Your awesome support enables us to upgrade our visual presentation via Restream as you're watching and bring you the content and the guests that you guys enjoy so much. Hammer, how's it going, mate? I see you've got the trophy there displayed proudly.
I do, mate. Yeah, I've got the trophy here. I need to get some streamers that we can hang off the handles, and then we can rip off the orange and black ones at the end of the season when we actually win the comp. But yeah, mate, I'm doing good. Again, I just want to echo your thanks to our wonderful Patreon subscribers whose support allows us to do what we do, which is bring everyone the best Warriors content on social media platforms. And just a reminder again to everyone that's tuned in tonight, the reason we do the show live is to get the involvement of those watching. So please, as we move through the various discussion points tonight, join the conversation, leave your comments. Good evening to Christian. Good evening to my mum, who have both commented. Mate, finally, a Warriors win in season 2022. It was ugly, but 2 points is 2 points, and I'd rather win ugly than lose pretty. How about you?
Yeah, mate. Pretty much all you could say about it was that we walked away with the 2 points somehow. We'll get it. We'll get into it now. We'll get into the nitty gritty and really dissect this one. So, as you said, mate, it was a 16-12 win over the Tigers out at Campbelltown. A rare win out there at Campbelltown, it must be said. So Warriors 16, and there was tries for the Warriors, tries to Aitken and Pompey, and a good day with the boot for Rhys Walsh, kicking 4 from 4, 2 all-important penalties there. The Tigers 12, tries to Tamo and Musgrave, and Brooks kicking 2 from 2. So we travelled to down south to Campbelltown, south of the Queensland border for the first time this year. And obviously, as we said, the first leg of the Mike Doreen Cup, it has not been a happy hunting ground, Campbelltown, I must say. There has been we've copped some real touch-ups there. Our last victory coming in 2007, that was a 28-16 win over the Tigers. I remember that one. Remember it well because Wade McKinnon got sent off towards the end of that game. Mate, Hammer, you've been to quite a few live games there and you would have witnessed some of those touch-ups.
I have indeed, mate. 50-6 back in 2010, 50-16 in 2015, 34-20. 6 the Warriors were leading. Desco scored right on time. And then there was the 34th in 2019, which I think was round 2. So, yes, Campbelltown doesn't hold very many good memories for me. Unfortunately, this round didn't work out. The SPM game in Sydney, it's a ridiculous time slot to get to any games. And I was unable to get there. I watched it with my daughter Katana at home. She was running late from work with me. We, as I said, the timing didn't work out, so I had to miss this, which was quite fitting, isn't it? So I still haven't seen a win at Campbelltown live. Mate, the Warriors went into this game unchanged, squad named on Tuesday. The Tigers had a couple of changes. Former Knight Stafford Toa named on the wing for Ken Mamalo, who was a late omission. Luke Garner moved into the centres for the injured James Roberts and was named to replace the suspended Jackson Hastings. And then that moved Alex Seafarth back into the back.
Yeah, mate, let's look at the main points of the game in a bit of a snapshot. So it was a pretty even start for both teams, completing sets and getting to their fifth tackle options. And I think it was Warriors with the first momentum shift with a penalty and then a kick early in the tackle count from CHT, forcing a goal line dropout. But as is the norm for the Warriors, when unable to capitalise and build any kind of pressure without handling letting us down yet again, this time lodged with a bit of a case of the drop. Dropping a simple tap on from Aaron.
Yeah, mate, pretty costly because that mistake, because the Tigers then go 100 metres and score a pretty easy try with James Tamo scoring next to the post. There was a mismatch on Rhys Walsh, who did his best to stop Tamo grounding the ball, but he was unable to. And then the first Warriors tried a UNA from a CHT kick that was batted back from Hectic Montoya on the wing there.
Yeah, that's right. And the mid part of that first half is pretty evenly matched. CHT with a poorly placed kick gifts the Tigers a 7-tackle set. And from the ensuing set, the Tigers were unlucky, we'll say unlucky, not to have a possible try from Leilua looked at the bunker. It's amazing that with all the replays and all everything we have in this day and age, they didn't even take a look at that one.
Yeah, I thought it was a try when I watched it live, and then I've watched, believe it or not, I've actually watched the replay of the game 3 times.
Torture.
The more I watch it, the more I think if it had got referred upstairs, it wouldn't have been. But isn't that why we have the technology? Like, why was it not upstairs? It was if that was the Warriors, would be blown up.
It was way too close. You had to have a look at it. I mean, he said he thought it was grounded on the dead touching goal line. But surely, if it's that close, you take a look at it.
Absolutely, that's what the technology's for. So that was a bad miss by them. And as I said, if it was us, we'd be blown up. So the Tigers fans, I think, have every right to be upset. Not that it was going to be a water try, but it really deserves to be looked at.
Well, we lost Eli Katoa to an eye injury, and Bailey Sirenen got some game time earlier than we probably all expected. And we actually forced some Tigers errors through some of our defensive energy. So an intercept by Arthurs off a Luke Brooks pass, and then a few sets later, Montoya with a good shot on Garner forced the turnover in possession. And Cody Nicarima with a nothing kick, and Dane Laurie totally mistimed it. Adam Pompey snatches it and runs away for an easy try, which gave us the lead, 12-6.
Brad's just chimed in saying, good evening, Brad. How are you, mate? Saying 3 times. Damn, I thought I had it rough watching the replay twice. Yeah, well, mate, I'm a consummate professional. Isn't that what they call it? I have to get my notes right for presenting this.
Student of your craft.
Yeah, I'm a student of my craft. So I'm a sucker for punishment. And I figured the more I watched it, the better it'd get. No, it didn't. It was
stayed the same.
Yeah. Mate, Laurie, he showed no confidence under the high ball, and he made some really crucial handling errors in the back end of the game too. We had some pretty good ball sets in the Tigers half, but our attack lacked any real direction. We went lateral left and lateral right with no real purpose, and then we just crashed it up the middle, hoping that something happened. Fortunately for us, the Tigers are just as inept as we are, and just as many poor choices and handling errors.
Indeed. We got that ruck infringement penalty left to go in the first half, and we opted to take the 2 points. Personally, I would love to have seen us keep the pressure on at that point. It wasn't a gimme kick either. It was out wide, and we know Rhys hitting them well, and he did slot it with Ine in the background, willing it over.
Yeah,
and Lisa in the background there, or was it David Kidwell in a Warriors jersey? Is that what they said?
It was David Kidwell in a Warriors jersey, they reckon.
Yeah. In hindsight, I know these 2 points, they were crucial to get in the victory, but it indicated perhaps that the boys weren't as confident of, creating the scoring opportunities, with both of our tries coming from kicks. So it was a little bit of a worrying sign there.
Yeah, like you said, mate, in hindsight, those 2 points were difference in the end, or 2 of the 4 points. But, I'd love to see the boys back themselves, keep the pressure on and chase a possible 6-point or a 12-point lead. It makes you wonder whether, if Sean Johnson's playing that game, whether they keep the pressure on rather than opting for a kick. The Tigers then make a crucial break down their left edge after Pompey came out of the line and failed to staff at Toa. And 2 plays later, the Tigers score under the post from a kick. And out of the line, leaves space for Gildart to race down the sideline. And if his pass to Toa was a little bit better, Tigers go back to back with tries. Luckily, Toa had to do that pass, and that gave Rhys Walsh enough time to tackle Toa over the sideline in what looked like a really great ball and all tackle, only because he was running backwards and juggling. But, mate, our right edge defence in that game, really struggling, mate. Oliver Gildart looked like the best centre in the NRL.
We did. We made him look amazing, didn't we? Extremely worrying signs there. we had more possession in that first half as well, but we had 0 line breaks to Tigers 3 and only 3 tackle breaks to Tigers 14. And there's a stat for you. The 18 missed tackles to us to the Tigers 4 was absolutely alarming stat. And the second half started with CHT trying his hand as a part-time actor. And he's Academy Awards on this week, so I think he was just getting in his nomination very late than never. And as the past couple of weeks, the independent doctor in the bunker, he actually called for CHT to be removed for a HIA, so a bit of a backfire there. But I don't know why players try these gamesmanship tactics. This one, as I said, backfired and left us without a playmaker for 15 minutes. So, not the greatest decision.
No, I know gamesmanship is part of the game now, but if you're going to gamble like that, you better be sure you're going to get a. And this time we didn't. We got no penalty, play on, and then he ended up having to go for 15 minutes, and sit on the sideline, which I think moved Bailey Sirenen into 5'8", and Cody Nicker stayed at half. I suppose the best thing that came out of that was that Jazz actually got injected into the game after sitting for 45 or 46 minutes. So. But we did start to win a bit of the momentum battle. We started making some easy meters on our sets, but mate, handling first there was Rocco Berry and then Nicarima just relieving the pressure that had been built. I thought when Jazz and Aaron Penne came on, they brought a lot of energy and intensity. Why Brownie waited so long to bring them into the contest is a bit confusing.
Yeah, look, mate, the past 2 weeks, those guys have been awesome off the bench. As you said, they bring a lot of energy into the contest, especially Jazz. And Brownie's definitely confused us with his bench rotation last season, so it's nothing new for us. But the Tigers, they just were not able to capitalise on our mistakes and turn the ball over just as easily as we did, which was, the difference really. And we got a penalty and a good follow-up set. We came close to scoring, and Lodge, he was held up over the line, and then Egan went close from dummy half. So there were still opportunities there.
You're right about the mistakes, mate. I remember last year, Carlos, when Juan and I would go to talk about the Warriors-Tigers games, and there was 2 of them. We played them twice last year. And he basically said it's the least mistakes wins the game, and that's pretty much it's been for the past 2 years with Warriors Tigers. It's mate. Yeah, it's in a complete show of no confidence. Again, we take a penalty kick at goal when we're on the attack for that third success. And going from a 2-point lead to a 4-point lead for me is. Listen, I know if they score a try, we're still even up in the game, but. Yeah, I don't know why we don't choose to keep her on. This was the period of the game where both CHT off the field that they could step up, and he just continued to go missing.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It was a baffling decision, and it wasn't real clear who was in charge. Who was calling the shots. It seemed like Rhys Walsh wanted to go for the 2. There was others wanted to go for the tap, so that was very confusing. And like a 2 and a 4-point lead, there's no sense in upgrading a 2 to a 4, in my opinion. But anyway, we were lucky.
They even sent the cameras up to Brownie in the box, and Brownie's up there. He didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah, it was just a bizarre scenario. It's like everyone was just like, "Oh, what do you reckon?" Yeah. So it's like Rhys just went, "Okay, well, we'll just take the 2. It's in front of the sticks." But is what it is, and anyway, it didn't prove to be costly, I guess. But speaking of costly for the Tigers. We were lucky that Dane Laurie couldn't get a clean grab on that Luke Brooks scrubber, because that was a definite try that went begging there. We absolutely got a slice of luck there. Tigers in all sorts of trouble with players struggling to get back into the line, most notably Big Stefano, who was literally playing on one leg. And we failed, amazingly, to recognise this and isolate him. He was out on one wing, standing on one leg out on one wing, and I just couldn't believe that we didn't just target that. And Aitken, he had a 2-on-1 with both Berry and Montoya on the injured Stefano, and he failed to pass. And then a poor 5th tackle option from Egan, that was one of the worst kicks I've seen, gives the Tigers easy possession, and they literally go 100 metres and force a dropout. So we instantly just get punished for our mistakes.
Absolutely. I'll move on, mate. Just say shout out to Ciala, Mark Roberts, Dennis Danzo, Tane Ravelick, Richie Sterling's joined us. Shims, I mentioned Brad 4, Ty Randell, Anthony Peake, all ending in the comment section there. So, hey, boys, thanks for joining us.
Awesome to have you, boys. Thanks very much. Appreciate your input. Yeah.
Absolutely. Back to the game, mate. Yeah, our coherent attack at that point was just non-existent. Walsh was calling that left edge. He identified Udagamano, and Egan kicked right from dummy half. Should have been points, but instead it's a 100-metre set from the Tigers, and we're defending our own line. 50-metre run from a Brooks kick, gets the ball away from it, which got the ball away from our goal line, and deep on the fumbles the ball into Matt after an 80-metre chase. Montoya is sin bin for holding down the player. It can be said it was probably a crafty move by Montoya. Jumped up, played the ball. Do they score?
Yeah, well, I think so. In hindsight, looking back, and at the time, I wasn't thinking that when it happened. But choosing to lay it all, I was like, "What have you done?" And I think I messaged you straight away. Said, "There's the game." But there we go. Choosing to lay over Madden probably saved a certain 4-pointer, as you said, for the Tigers. And we defended our line for 12 straight tackles, showing some great defensive resilience. Both teams, it was just a comedy of errors. You should have had the Benny Hill music in the background. Both teams just diabolical. Warriors with a loose pass from Lodge when attacking the Tigers' line. I still don't understand what went on there. And then a high shot from Egan just absolutely compounded the situation. That's another thing that we're struggling with, is compounding our mistakes, and then they're giving away penalty and marching them upfield. And not only do we miss out, but they're straight back on the attack again. So we gave them all the chances in the world with 5 minutes remaining, and Lodge had a crucial lost captain's challenge that could have gone either way. Obviously, though, it was more of a tactical decision because the boys were probably out on their feet, with all that defensive work. So it was a bit of a time wasted ploy to get some air in the lungs there, which I guess you could say did the trick.
Yeah, I think so, mate. Amazingly, the Warriors hang on defensively, went down to 12 men. More so from the inept attack that's thrown at them and the choices in attack from the Tigers than anything else. Although we did scramble quite well. It was a tough watch and an ugly, ugly win. And as Richie Sterling said before, I'll take a ugly win rather than an aesthetically pleasing loss any day of the week.
Yeah.
Mate, let's go through a couple of discussion points from this game, though, because there are a few that we need to talk about.
Yeah, let's look at these match stats, and then we'll launch into a discussion around some of these key areas of our performance. We've got the stats there. Fairly even across the board. Possession, 51% to 49%. Tigers completed 75 to our 72. Tigers making about 200 more meters than us. Post-contact meters, not much in it. Line breaks, though, 4-1 to the Tigers, and 30 tackle breaks to our 10.
Yep.
Kick return meters, I think that was helped by Walshy's big kick return there. Because we had 223 to 138. Tackles, much of a muchness there, 349 to 321. Look at that missed tackles, though. Jeez. Our Tigers missed 10. We missed 30. Tackle efficiency, Tigers slightly better with 97% to our 91. 13 errors to 12, and that really did even up, as we said at the back end of that game. Penalties conceded 9-7. With those errors, it was like who was trying to lose it more than rather who was trying to win it. It almost seemed like, didn't it?
Yeah, well, that's what it is. I mean, their error, like 13 errors to 12 errors, but it's that missed tackle stat that is just alarming.
Oh, it's diabolical, really.
Yeah.
And we're playing anyone else other than the Tigers, and we get punished there for sure.
Yep. Yeah, 100%.
Let's look at our halves performance from this game. So, not ideal, but our third halves pairing in as many games. What did you think of the performance of our halves in that one?
Third halves pairing in 3 weeks, and it shows. Mate, not taking control or directing them around. Walsh did a lot of the general duties, and it's great to have a fullback and or a hooker as a general play kicking option. It worked really well for Mel when they had Slater and Cam Smith that could do it as well as their halves doing it as well. But you really want your halves doing the majority of the general play kicking. And if you look at that, like Cody only 101, he only had 3 kicks for 191 meters, and Chanel 7 kicks for 223. It's what lacking with Johnson out. Mark Roberts, we had a halves pairing. Yeah, they wore 6 and 7, mate. Halves pairing on team list only. Interesting that we had success kicking to Nofaluma's wing with Montoya out jumping him for the 8 can try, but we never went back to the air that side of the field again. Instead, we chose to kick to Stafford Toa, who obviously new into the team, but he was safe under the high ball. He was very safe all game. Yeah. Mate, my question to you is, with our misfiring halves and CHT coach Taylor not contracted past 2022, should the Warriors management look to try and get Luke Metcalf early from the Sharks? Now, he's played 3 New South Wales Cup games for the Jets so far this year, the Sharks feeder team, and his stats are pretty impressive. He's averaging 205 kick meters. He's had 3 try assists, 3 line breakers. He's averaging 70 meters. He's got 1 forced drop out. The thing for me is he's scored 5 tries and he's kicked 17 from 22 goals. So, the step up between NRL and New South Wales Cup is completely different. But with nothing in the pipeline for next year, except for an aging Sean Johnson on the books, let's face it, Ash Taylor's probably only here for a 1-year deal, and he'll probably go to the Dolphins, I would expect, staying in Queensland. We know Cody doesn't.
Cody wants to stay in Queensland as well. Yeah, he's got family here. He wants to stay here. He's made no secret of that. CHT. Yep. Yeah, I mean, we don't know what he's going to do. Like, there's been rumors, or we don't know what happened, but there's suggestions that he's asked for a release, or he didn't want to take up the Warriors' offer because he wanted to try and play for a new contract. So his situation is, I guess, kind of up in the air. He's off contract as well. Luke Metcalf did get a taste of NRL at the back end of last year, and he looked pretty good in a couple of games. I think it was a big win that Sharks had over the Tigers. He played quite well. Look, I think it's a no-brainer personally. Get him in, get him some NRL game time, because he's going to be there for the next 2 years, and where it looks like we could potentially be without 3 of our 4 halves that we have at the moment. Yeah,
that's right. Mark Roberts said, from what he's seen in the media from Cam George, they've tried, but Fitzy said no to an early release. Well, we need to try harder. Yeah, try. Like we do. We need to try hard. We need to try and get this kid over the same way that they did with Rhys Walsh last year. Just keep hounding it. I mean, he's not in their their plans for this year. That he's leaving, so they're not going to be any first grade game time. I think he'd be great. Mate, but attack in general, disjointed. How did you see our attack?
It's a concern, big concern. The attack lacks any real structure. Our early sets were pretty much routine, and not really showing any purpose. And we continued to go to the edges way too early in the sets. And Brownie has spoken about the attacking brand of footy that he wants the team to play, and both Curran and AFB used as ball playing forwards, and that's fine, but you can't do it every single set. No. And the Warriors, we looked extremely rushed, disjointed, clunky, whatever you want to say. And I'm really liking that Wade Egan he has developed his running game in the middle third of the field and in the Warriors sort of midfield sets, and it keeps the markers out there on their toes, and it stops them and the sort of the A and B defenders from shifting to our A and B runners. Again, Joshy Curran, very busy, and he was looking to create opportunities with his footwork and his offload game. And he's our hardest working forward, and his shift from an edge to the middle looks like it's really suited his game. It's agreed with him. Does he retain the 13 when Tohu comes back, or does Tohu force Curran to an edge? What do you think?
retained in the middle in that 13, and Tohu used on an edge. I think Curran's defence and ball playing would be wasted edge. I think Tohu can be far more dangerous running at a smaller half, attracting two edge defenders and looking to release his outside centre and wing. And he had a lot of success doing that at Melbourne, and he had a lot of success doing that when he first came to the Warriors. And it was only last year that they kind of moved him and played him in the middle, and he lacked a little bit of his that punch that he had in his attack. He put his float away. He just became more of a take it up the middle, hit it, and take tackle kind of guy. And I'd rather see us use his strength, which is his offload game. Defensively, mate, the past 2 weeks, Hector Montoya on the left edge has come under some serious attack from the fans. But this week it was our right edge defensive Arthurs and Pompey that was found. We mentioned it before when we were going through the game rundown. Oliver Gill causing havoc out there, running for over 200 metres and looking dangerous with every touch. Montoya had come under some serious attack from fans for his defence decisions in previous week. But this week, both he and Berry, I thought, got it right. Montoya with some really great decisions to come in and take the time and space away from both Leilua and Garner, who was playing in the centres to stop the Tigers' progression. How did you rate particularly on our edges?
Look, it did not fill me with any confidence. As you mentioned, Pompey and Arthur's side. I mean, even at the very end of the game, they almost got away with us. Before we got possession again, it was only a bad pass that got us out of trouble. But they looked like carving us up down that way again in the first half. 2 massive long runs from Oliver Gildar, making him look like the Prince of Centres. We'll get schooled against even the half decent sides who are, even better to exploit that kind of weakness. So again, we got away with it because we were playing the Tigers, but yeah, imagine if we did that against Melbourne or, some of the Penrith, some of the other top sides that would just take us to task.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I spoke about it briefly before, but Brownie's bench rotation's pretty puzzling this week. Interesting bench rotation this week. Aaron Pane and Jastavanga not used at all in the first half, which raised a few eyebrows. And both players have been pretty good in the first 2 games. Pane with good carries and some strong defence, and Jazz used as both a middle forward and as a substitute hooker. And he's stiffening up our middle defence, straightening up our attack in the middle, and just brings so much energy when he comes on. Like, it looks like things are happening when he's there, and always looking for that little sneaky offload. Keeping Lodge on the park, though, when he was obviously struggling. I know he's probably lacking a bit of match fitness, and Brownie wants him to get some minutes under his belt, but surely using him in effective, 20-minute spurts would be better.
Yeah, mate. Mate, I was critical of rotation last season. It was my pet peeve all season. I went on about it all year. And this season he'd been better. But he did give both Ben and Ciro very limited game time in round one. Ben Murdoch-Masilo only played 17 minutes. And I know he's coming back from injury. I could see Nigel Phillips has just asked the question, what's the story with BMM? He was coming back from injury. We ran into him. We saw him at training in the preseason. And the day we were there, it was his first actual running day, wasn't it? That was like early February.
It was. Yeah,
that he'd actually had a run on since his operation. So he's come slowly. He's been playing some minutes in the Queensland Cup. Him and Urch, but first round he only got 17 minutes. This time, Aaron Pane, I've got 17 minutes there. I went back and checked. It was actually only 12 minutes. Now, I did notice in the game that Aaron did clutch at his shoulder a couple of times coming out of tackles. And I spoke to him yesterday, and he basically said that, just had a stinger. Nothing too serious. He'll needle up and he'll be right to go this week.
Yep.
Look, round 2, I thought Brownie got it right, considering we lost Lodge after 20 minutes. I thought his bench rotation was better that week. But this week, just keeping Jazz and Aaron on the bench for 5 minutes, baffling considering what they bring when they're injected into the game. I don't know, mate. I'm not an NRL coach, not sitting up there in the box. Obviously, the Eli Katoa injury to his eye changed things a little bit, but it was Sirinen that got minutes there.
Yep.
It was great for Bailey because he was used very sparingly in rounds 1 and 2. So it's kind of interesting, isn't it, that the guy that they don't use in round 1 and 2, he gets the more minutes in round 3, and the guys that have been doing good in that bench rotation in rounds 1 and 2, well, they can sit on the bench this week and warm the pine for a little bit. So
yeah.
There's our row comparison from the same game. And Bunty's, he only got 30 minutes. I thought Bunty was out there for a little bit. But yeah, it was just baffling. The forward rotation is just baffling at the moment.
What about the back row options? Do you think some serious consideration should be given to benching or maybe even dropping Eli Katoa? He's unfortunately just not producing the numbers that we need him to.
No, Eli had a great 2020, didn't he? There's no doubt he's struggling to get back to his 20 form. I know last year he carried a bit of a foot injury for most of the season. It was in and out. But there were so many back row options. How long does Brownie persevere with him in that back row before Siren and Penne, BMM, Merch are all given an opportunity? You can see his numbers aren't really that good. Like an edge back rower getting like no line breaks. He floats. He's only got like a tackle break in round 2. He had 3 in round 1, but one of those tackle breaks was when Johnson put him through a hole to score a try. Before that, he was pretty ordinary in that game.
Yeah, he was.
Mate, it also next week, Ewan Aitken has announced that he's been granted early release from his contract for family reasons, not wanting to relocate to New Zealand, choosing instead to stay for family reasons. I thought he was quite strong for us on the weekend. Where do you see Ewan ending up?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. And does he consider himself a back rower now, or does he still consider himself a centre? Because we know that it's Brownie's obviously been playing in the second row, but is the team looking for a centre or a second rower now? Where he ends up, I'm not sure. They said he hasn't lined up anything as yet. It is I guess a little bit puzzling that he signed a contract with a Kiwi club, but then didn't want to move to New Zealand.
No, and listening to Brad and Richie in the standoff tonight, who were on, about an hour and a half before we come on, the boys in New Zealand. Brad was saying that it's been something that he heard an interview with Craig Hodges, and Hodges was saying it's something that they've been working through with Ewan since he signed. So it's kind of a weird one. This is something that's been in the background for the last 2 years, year and a half. Why players sign with the club called the New Zealand is that, if COVID's not around, are based out of New Zealand, and then are surprised when the team's going to head back and, oh shit, I don't want to go there. I've got to get out of this continent. I don't know.
It's strange.
The other thing though is we've got some good cattle coming next year. We've got Murata Nia, who's from Parramatta, who's coming, who's a good edge back rower, and we've got Dylan Walker, who can fill a number of different positions. At the moment at Manly, he plays that 14 role. Could be in the centres next year, but I know we're talking 2023 and we need answers for the moment.
Yeah, for sure. Let's just take a quick look at the standout player performances from this round before we wrap it up. So AFB was solid again up front, despite looking like he's carrying a little bit of an injury with his legs heavily strapped. Jazz Tavanga was solid coming off the bench, and he, as we said before, he really stiffened up that middle. Ewan Aitken was very solid on the edge and scored a good try there. Josh Curran, once again, one of our best on field. And our Taurius player of the match was none other than Rhys Walsh.
Yep. Yeah, I thought Rhys had a good game. As I said, he had a lot of he 2 from 2 conversions, 2 from 2. Is the only, I think he's one of the only comp that's 100% success rate at the moment. He's kicked 7 from 7. 155 run meters, 2 tackle breaks, a line break. He looked dangerous every time he touched the ball. And it's a matter of time before some of those combinations start working with him. So Rhys gets our 3 points this week. Joshy Curran got points, and we gave Ewan Aitken 1 point, which has our notorious player of the season, Josh Curran, out in front with 8. Adam Fanua-Blake on 4, Rhys Walsh on 3, and then we've got Ewan Aitken and Chanel Harris-Tavita all 1 point. So, mate, let's go around the ground, look at what happened in the NRL this week.
Mate, let's go and check out some of the other games were played. This was multicultural round in both the NRL and the NRLW. It seemed as though this was a rush thought because there wasn't much publicity about it until a week out. Only a few clubs with a jersey design in honour of the round. So maybe that's something that's going to take off in future years. Who knows? But yeah, multicultural round it was. And to kick things off on Thursday night down there at Wynn Stadium, some very ordinary conditions out there. It was a huge win to the Sharks, 36-12 over the Dragons. Sharks tries to Katoa, Ikavalu, Talakai, Ramian, Hamlin Ueli, and Nico Hines. Hines kicking 6 from 7. And for the Dragons, 12, Bird and Gushevsky tries, Lomax 2 from 2. So I said awful conditions. Second week in a row, Jaden Sewer spending some time in the sin bin. The Sharks took full advantage and they posted some points. They looked quite good. They looked very fluent, throwing the ball around in wet conditions and still scoring a lot of points. And they are looking like a real dark horse this year, I think, already. I know it's just round 3, but that was a very impressive performance considering the conditions. Just back to Jaden Sewer, he's fast getting a reputation. And that's all it takes for the rest to give you a bit of extra focus, a la our mate, the wild man, Jack Hetherington. Some awesome scramble defense from the Sharks, very impressive. They even held out Ravalawa, something we couldn't do in round 1. And 18-0 lead. Sharks the Dragons, did get on the board early in the second half, but Nico Hines, outstanding, directing the Sharks around the park. The Sharks, they were reduced to 11 men to finish the game with Ramian sent to the sin bin and then Fafita as well. And Dragons got some consolation points, but as I said before, they're looking impressive, the Sharks already.
They are, mate. They certainly are. First game on Friday night was the diabolical Warriors tie game, which we've just gone through. The second
we're not going to review it again. We've reviewed it once.
The Rabbits versus the Roosters, and Rabbits bouncing back to form, 28 over the Roosters 16. Rabbits, Johnston, Walker, Colomathi, Latrell Mitchell kicking 4 from 5. And for the Roosters, Tedesco, Manu, Tupu tries, Walker 2 from 3 goals. Mate, South finally found some form, jumped out to an early 12-0 lead, and they really looked like they were playing with confidence, and they really took it to the Roosters in this one. All the South guns, Cam Murray, Cody Walker, Damien Cook, Latrell Mitchell, they all stood up. The speed of the play in this game made that Tigers vs Warriors game look an under-12s match, didn't it? Just the skill was just ridiculous in comparison. I thought in a losing team, Joey Manu was outstanding with his touches. He is undoubtedly the best centre in the game, although the Warriors did try to make Oliver Gildart the best centre in the game. But Bunnies controlled the game well with 54 possession, 84 completion rate. Defensively, the Rabbits shut the Roosters out of the game in the forward battle, and area was usually strong. Hopefully, the Rabbits have unlocked their shackles because when they're firing, they are a great team to watch, and they'll definitely need to back this Friday against the Panthers. The one out of this game is I got a multi up because I had a anytime try score multi with Tedesco, Manu, Tupu, Mitchell, and Alex Johnson in a multi. So yeah, that was
just slotted it. Yeah, awesome.
Silly question along the line: who actually pays for Warriors accommodations, etc. Since they've been in Oz? Players chip in or do NRL cover it? So for the past 2 seasons, the NRL have basically covered it because the Warriors are based here under duress to keep the competition running. The Warriors made the choice back in October last year to relocate to Redcliffe for this season so that the players' partners and families and so forth could make the necessary accommodations that they need to with work and daycare and stuff like that. And part of that edit from the Warriors was that the guys had to go out and find their own accommodation. So they're not going to be living in holiday accommodation. So we know a couple of boys up there have bought houses. Some are renting. Some are sharing accommodations with other, but yeah, it is out of their own pockets for this season. So hope that answers the question.
Yeah, good question though.
Yeah, great question.
Moving on to the first game on Saturday, and we had the Panthers up against the Knights. A very entertaining game, this one. Panthers getting away to a 38-20 win. Panthers 38, treble to May on debut. Targo with a double, Crichton and Staines with tries. Crichton 5 from 8 to the Knights 20. Young, Hoy, Best and Tuala tries. Clifford 2 from 4. Panthers, again, taking a home game to Bathurst, but they were under strength with a host of first-choice players unavailable for this game. So a bunch of inexperienced guys coming into positions with guys like Naden, Burton and Capewell, so that backup that they previously had no longer at the club. The Knights were without Ponga for another week, so the sex toy, he got taken out of the box and he got a run at fullback in Ponga's absence. It was the Knights' first big test for the season, as we said last week. They'll find out sort of how they're travelling when they come up against the Panthers, and they fared pretty well against them. Injury-affected Panthers early. They led 6-4. In the back end of the first half, Newcastle reduced to 12 men when an absolute brain explosion from Mitch Barnett elbows Chris Smith in the head in the backfield. I don't know what he was thinking. The old rush of blood to the head. And, yeah, he was gone skis. He was given his marching orders. And it didn't take the Panthers long to capitalise on the extra player. Taylor May getting his second try just before half-time. And that's the second time, the second half, the Panthers just controlled the field position and wore away the Knights and just ground them down. They took a full advantage of the extra man. It just caught up with the Knights and they were able to pile on some points. They did get a few late tries to sort of blow the score out a little bit. The Knights, they didn't give up and they played playing 45 minutes with 12 against the reigning premiers. Tex Hoy played a big second half and he actually kept them in the contest. They earned some respect, definitely, for their toughness in this one. But again, the Panthers just too good. And, Taylor May, great effort for him to get a hat-trick in his second NRL game. And, Panthers outside backs continue to be impressive. And Mitch Barnett, a lengthy stint on the sidelines.
Yeah, Cop was taken straight to the judiciary. Cop 6 weeks. I don't know. I think he might have got more. Like if Chris Smith was running the ball and he got hit, I could think 6 weeks. He was not involved in the play, and that elbow was clear to his jaw. I thought he deserved to get 2 weeks. It is what it is. But yeah, as you said, mate, the Knights really earned some respect. They played 45 minutes against the Premiers with only 12 men, and went down by 18. So yeah, it was a good performance by the Knights, but yeah, the Panthers just too good. Yeah. What was that? That was Saturday, wasn't it? The next game was the Storm and the Eels. What another cracking game of footy.
Awesome game. Yeah.
The Storm 20-22, Brandon Smith, Joe Dirt Pappenhausen tries. Joe Dirt Pappenhausen 4 from 4. The Eels 28. Stone Cold, or what is it? Ray Stone Cold, Steve Austin.
Ray Stone Cold, Ray Austin.
2 tries. The King Gutho a try.
2 tries for the 2 beers.
Yeah. Mitch Moses 4 from 4. Mate, the Storm lost Xavier Coates before kickoff. He was replaced by Nick McClusion. For them was the Hectic Cheese, Brandon Smith, back from a broken hand after only missing 1 round. Mate, this game had all the intensity you expect from 2 of the competition heavyweights. Both to great attacking vision. The Storm creating many second phase play opportunities with offloads from their bin leading to their first try. The Eels with Reed Martin, Dylan Brown probing for the Eels and working the Storm forwards leading to their first try. I thought Parra showed great defensive resilience with Melbourne having 21 tackles on the Eels line in the opening 30 minutes, but only managing the 1 try. Absolute cracker of a game, tied up at 24 all and breaking a shot at a 1-point victory before full time. Only fitting that this game was taken. Neither team really deserved to walk away without any. But the Eels win it with a try to Ray Stone, chase for Mitch Moses' field goal attempt in golden point extra time. Kick ricocheting off the upright and Stone Cold picking up the ball to score. The interesting thing for me is was the first time. Normally, when someone goes for a field goal, everyone's and watches on both teams. That was the first time I've actually seen a guy chase through the kick, and this is what happens.
It would have brought a tear to Ray Price's eye, wouldn't it?
Oh, it would have, mate. It would have.
Yeah. I've got to say, Stone Cold Ray Stone getting a double. He did his ACL, scoring the match-winning try. As Richie said earlier in their show, that's the way to do it. That's the way to go out. If you got to do an ACL, you do it scoring a match-winning try in a Bon Jovi style blaze of glory.
It's like a mic drop, isn't it? Hey, he's just mic dropped and walked off for the. He's done.
I don't normally do my ACL, but when I do, it's scoring a match-winning try against the Storm in Melbourne. There you go. That's a mic drop.
Yeah. So the next time we'll see him, he'll be wearing a Dolphins jersey.
Of course, that's right. Yeah.
Signed to the Dolphins next year.
Because Ray Stone says so.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. Another very entertaining game followed this one, and this was the Raiders 24 overcoming a massive 22-0 deficit to beat the Titans 22. Raiders 24, Tomoko with a double, Valame, Chris, and Nickel Clockster with tries, and Schneider 2 from 5 to the Titans 22. Sami, Kelly, Fermor, Fasuama Ali the tries. Sexy Sexton with 3 to 4. Can I just say, it's just refreshing to know that it's not just us that do this kind of thing. So let this be a record that there has been another team that's coughed up a big lead. Raiders looking like a team that was absolutely misfiring and struggling to find any confidence in that first half. The Titans were way better, completing their sets, putting the Raiders under pressure. 4 tries for a 22-4 lead in the first half, and off the back of some great possession stats. Canberra only completing 40% in the first half. 21 missed tackles, and the score was no real surprise. Crucially, though, they did get that try right on half-time, which could have been a bit of a momentum swinger to Sami Velame, which it was 22-4 at half-time, and a much better start to that second half for the Raiders. Starling, he came into his own in that second half there, just lifted the intensity. Much improved completion rate from the Raiders in that second half. 3 tries in 12 minutes got them right back into the contest, and the pressure was firmly back on the young Titans team. All the momentum in that second half, as I said, Tom Starling, Jack Whiten had massive games, and an amazing effort to come from 22-0 down to hit 24-22 lead, 4 minutes left to play. And how about that hit from Semi Valame on Brimson at the end of the game was like a punctuation mark on the comeback. Equals the biggest comeback in Raiders history, but that was that Steve Matai out there or Matt Rua or one of these guys?
Yeah. Jay Harris is saying that young Tomoko was a beast as well. Yeah, he's built a young Ruben Wiki playing in the centres there at Canberra. And Ricky Stewart does have big raps on him. They had raps on him last year, and he got a couple of games last year. He was outstanding for them. There was a comment there that I to see. Jack O'Hare says, was it him? Someone was asking, Braden Kendall. Hey, Robert Mark, what do you reckon the score is going to be in the Warriors Broncos game?
We're going to get to that.
I don't know.
Who knows? I honestly can't tell you. It's hard to say,
Yeah, that's how you know. It is hard to say. The first game on Sunday, mate. The Broncos hosting Cowboys there at Suncorp Stadium. The Cowboys 38, Nanai 3, Neem, Holmes, Dearden tries, 7 from 7 goals. Farnworth 2 tries, Ray Bolds, it should say Reynolds, 2 from 2 goals for their 12. First Queensland season 2022. The last time the Cowboys and the Broncos played a Sunday game was the 2015 Grand, and we all know what happened in that. Traditionally, regardless of travelling during the season and where they're sitting on the competition ladder, they're always a really competitive, close kind of game. And the Cowboys, on the back of an almost perfect completion rate, really troubled the Broncos with their attack, going in for a 14-6 halftime lead. The battle of the centres, Sags and Farnworth, Hickle and Holmes, it was a great battle. Taumalolo in the first half had the better of the contest up against Payne Haas. JT starting to find that form. They had him as one of the best in the game a few seasons back. And it was great. They Toddy Payton came out and basically they were going to put him back on, but they didn't need to. So, they save him for next week. I think he played 53 minutes this week, which is
Toddy.
a step up. Yeah. Valentine Holmes, mate, had his best game ever in a Cowboys jersey. The move to centres has really unlocked his potential. He doesn't have that. He's got to feel like he's got to create stuff when he's playing in the one jersey. The young Cowboys forwards in the young Kiwi boy Griffin Neem, Jeremiah Nanai, Hilam Lukey, massive for the Cowboys with energy and intensity. Picking up a hat trick in just his 7th game of NRL, and he was playing like a seasoned professional. The Cowboys could smell blood in the water with it. They were attacking Brisbane with their defence. They showed good line speed and energy to force the Broncos back into their own in goal on 3 separate occasions in that second half. Mate, Cowboys, real surprise pack of the competition after 3 rounds. They were absolutely sensational. Maybe the Broncos don't like playing daytime footy. They're so used to playing Friday night.
I think it is. Yeah, it's just daylight.
Works in our favour for this week, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. So what's this daylight? Oh. Needs to come out with shades. Wrapping up the round, we had Manly versus Bulldogs out at the new look Brookvale Oval. And it was a 13-12 win to the Sea Eagles to get them off the mark. Trebojevic and Garrick with tries. Garrick 2 from 2. And Cherry Evans kicking a field goal, which he loves to do. Thankfully, not against us this time. The Bulldogs 12. Wakeham and Burns tries. Burton 2 from 4. Trent Barrett returning to Brookvale for the first time since leaving amid those controversial comments back in 2020. And I heard them saying on the radio, I wonder if they've got the plastic chairs in the coach's box ready for him. We had Bulldogs had a change to the halves. Jake
he's dropped out. Okay, so Bulldogs had a change in the halves. Jake Everillo dropped and was a new face in the halves. The Bulldogs is back.
Oh, I'm back, sorry.
Bulldogs first to post points in torrential conditions. Manly pushed the pass early in poor conditions. Came up with an early error, resulting in the Bulldogs getting an early try against the run of play. The Bulldogs really identified Jason Saab as a bit of a weakness in this one, mate, under the high ball. And it worked well for them. They isolated him, forced him into errors. Burton's kicking game, putting the Sea Eagles back 300 with every bomb. He's got that really weird bomb that he puts up that gets so much air, and the back three find it very hard to handle. But yeah, Manly were unlikely leaders at halftime after a beautiful cutout ball from Foran finds Garrick in the left wing. Pretty dour second half though, mate. The conditions were poor. The only points were a Matt Burton penalty goal to all the scores at 12-12 with 6 minutes to play. And then, as true to Manly were first to try a field goal with DC, his first attempt charged down, but his second attempt found the mark slot in his 24th goal of his career. I think he's kicked 23 of them against the Warriors.
I was just going to say, he's kicked at least half of those against us.
Yeah. Bulldogs brave in defeat. And Manly, although getting their first win of the season, they're far from the heavyweights they were last season. And you saw that post-match press, and Jake Trebojevic was just so relieved that they got a win.
Yeah.
So, mate, let's have a look at the ladder.
Yep.
If you want to go with us, mate.
Yeah, the Knights and the Cowboys, obviously the real surprise packets of the opening rounds of the season. Our Warriors at least making moves in the right direction, and the Tigers the only team to be Owen. Yes.
Owen. Owen
3. Yeah. So, let's hope that we can add to that this week. But, as we said, the surprise packets, the Cowboys, Sharks, and the Knights probably much higher than most people would have thought. And they're rounding out the top 8. Yeah, Storm, Eels, Raiders, and Broncos.
Only 3 rounds in, though, mate. You get a better feel once we get to like round 8, round 9. You can kind of get a feel for where everyone's sitting. Heading into that magic round type scenario. So, with a couple of games that we thought were going to be pretty winnable games before the season. So we got the Broncos and then the Cowboys, and then we go into a period where the Roosters, the Storm, the Raiders, the Sharks, and the Rabbitohs. So we've got a bit of a hard run coming up.
We
really need to start finding. Yep, absolutely. Well, mate, it's that time of the night.
It is. It's time for Roo's rant. Let's get into it. Now, this week it's going to be very much tongue in cheek. Roo's rant this week. So, I just want to have a bit of a rant about the kickoff time for Friday night's game. So obviously 6 o'clock kickoff is bad enough. When you got daylight savings in Queensland, it kicks off at 5 p.m. So obviously, being a father with young children, that's right in the middle of dinner time, bath time, bedtime. So I'm very lucky that my lovely wife grants me a bit of a leave to go and watch the game. But I am one of the worst people to watch a game on TV with because I just don't like talking. I just don't like to talk, or I don't like people talking to me. The lovely children come up to me and saying, "Daddy, can we do some colouring in? Can we play some Lego?" I'm like, "I'd love to. Just 17 minutes to go in this game." I'm sitting there clinging to a nervous 4-point lead. Like these 5 o'clock kickoffs on a Friday night are killing me. But it's getting the win. And as I said, being the Nostradamus that I am and predicting a nervous 4-point win, there was a lot of pacing going around in the living room. As soon as it was over, I was right back into dad mode. And then it was straight back into bedtime. Dinner time, bedtime, bath time, and all that sort of thing. But geez, these 5 o'clock kickoffs. Luckily, daylight saving ends this weekend because 6 o'clock is bad enough, mate.
Yeah. Well, I know what you're talking about, mate, because I keep booking flights head to Queensland to watch a game, and I keep thinking that I'm booking flights on New South Wales time and forgetting that it's Queensland time that I'm going up there for the game. So a couple of times I've been a bit wary, but yeah. After this one, I don't have to worry, mate.
Jacko Harry's got no sympathy for me. Don't care, Roo. It's 8 p.m. kickoff in the homeland. NZ suits me fine. All right.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. Yes.
Mate, the second of our weekly segments, Hammer's Hot Topic. What do you want to discuss this week, mate?
Mate, well, mine's a little bit... I had a bit of a rant last week about... I've actually had a rant the past 2 weeks. So, again, I'm going to go a bit lighthearted this week. And following on from our victory against the Tigers in the first leg of the Mike Doreen Cup, it got me thinking about other shields, plates, trophies that we could be playing against when we play other NRL teams. Like the Mike Doreen Cup, named after the great man himself, in honour of the first Warrior who left the club to link with the Sydney Tigers back then. And there has been 25 players who have played for both the Warriors and the Tigers. It's a pretty illustrious list of players, but Mike was the first. So in honour of the hard-working outside back / plasterer that is MD25, we have the Mike Doreen Cup when we verse the Tigers. But we could be playing for imaginary silverware every week and imaginary trophy cabinet with imaginary award full of imaginary awards. And we can have some serious up-signing some of the great dual club players. So, you know, if we play the Bulldogs, you know, we could have the Steve Price Shield.
Absolutely.
When we play the Raiders, we could have the Ruben Wiki Cup. But we can have a bit of fun with it too. So I've come up with a couple of suggestions for each team, and I'd really love you guys, the listeners, to get involved with this. I've come up with a couple for each team. So, some of them just name themselves with argument, like the Old Man Elliott Cup for when we play St George. You don't get a trophy or a cup at the end of it. You get a cup of cocoa with a marshmallow on top, some Werther's Originals, and some slippers.
Pipe and slippers, yeah.
But yeah, I went through like this. We've had some illustrious that have played. Like for the Broncos, you could have someone like Brent Tate.
Yep.
Or you could go the other way and go Dannon Kemp.
Yep.
You know, Cowboys would be the Toddy Payton. The Eels could have the Big Tooks. The Big Tooks.
Yep. Absolutely.
We go to the one game Warrior, 4-game Eel, Danny Sullivan for the Danny Sullivan Shield. We've also got Justin Morgan or Filetti Mateo in honour of Brad Inga for the Night Jesse Royal Cup.
Yes. This is one especially for you, Brad.
Yeah. For the Panthers, it'd be the Cleary Shield or the Ivan Cleary Cup.
Yep.
For the Rabbitohs, we'd have Isaac Luke, the Luke Shield, or we could go the other way, 5-game warrior Manoa Thompson. And for Roosters, we've had some great players come across from the Roosters. We'd have we've got Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, or we've had John Simon, who's played for the Roosters. But it'd have to be the fast outside back himself, Todd Skinny Byrne.
Stuck on a treadmill.
Brad Inger, bin the Royal Cup. No, we're gonna get that made up for you, mate. Yeah, I reckon the locker room would get around the Kempy Cup. They probably would too, not realising it's a piss take. For the Sea Eagles, obviously, And
yes.
for the Storm, you could have Stephen Kearney, a great player at the Storm, coached the Warriors, played for the Warriors. Yeah. For the Titans, you've got guys like Clinton Torpey, Conrad, Nathan Friend, David Miles. But the one that I think has to get named is for the Sharks. I was going to go with the Missy Twala Papa Cup, but I've decided to go with my all-time favourite player. I think about this guy as highly as this guy does Jesse Royal, and that would be the John O'Rourke. So let me know if you guys come up with any more. Obviously, it's a bit of a piss take.
Yeah, it's good to have a bit of fun with it. Yeah,
it is, mate. It is. Let's get into team list for this week. There it is. You want to take us through it?
Absolutely. Yeah, fullback Rhys Walsh. On the wings, Adam Pompey and Marcelo Montoya. In the centres, Jesse Arthurs and Rocco Berry. Halves named Chanel Harris-Tavita and Cody Nikorima, but watch this space. We'll get to that in a minute. AFB, Egan and Matt Lodge in the front row. Aitken and Cartola in the centres. Josh Curran at lock. On the interchange bench, we've got Jazz, Bunty, Aaron Penne, and great to see the merchandise back in there, back on the shelf, the merchandise. Extended bench is where it gets interesting, guys. So we've got Taniela Otokolo, Ben Murdoch-Masila, Pride Pedersen Rabadi. We've got Vailangi Kepu, Junior Ratuva, number 24, Sean Johnson, and number 25, Ed Cozy.
Mate, I would expect that if Sean Johnson is past fit, he will play. By the reason that he would have been named. And if he plays, I think Cody just drops straight out of that 7-man squad. Mate, we need him to play. I hope he plays. We need him to play. Yeah. The rest of the team probably picks itself, I guess. Still no Vili Valea. Still no Mwateni Zalesniak. I smell Pridey getting a crack soon too, bro. He's going very, very well, and I think he's very, very unlucky that he hasn't had his NRL. I think it's coming very soon. But yeah, I'm happy to see the merch there. I think the merch gives us a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? A change of dynamic, I guess, coming off the bench.
Bit of versatility as well.
That's looking for versatility. And I said at the beginning of the year, the merch could even play in the centre. He started as a centre. He played junior reps as a centre. It wasn't until he played New South Wales Schoolboys that that they shifted him to the back row. So he can play centre. He might be a better option in the centres than what's happening at the moment in regards to especially defensively. But yeah, watch this space for Johnson. He should have been in before Sirinen. I do want to go back. I think Mark Roberts has a winner there. We'd be calling it the Fling Friend Cup. I like that one in honour of Nathan Friend, the flipping hooker from that wonderful try that he set up. Yeah, I do like that one.
Flipping Friend, that's a good one. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. But apart from that, mate, I don't think there's any other massive changes to the team. Massive unexpected changes to that team. We'll get the upcoming games. You want to start off, mate, with the Tigers?
Yeah, Thursday night, Titans versus Tigers. Titans, Jermaine Asako, who was a surprise signing for them, named at fullback for his Titans debut. Corey Thompson back on the wing, Jaden Campbell and Philip Sami, the players replaced. Interesting. For the Tigers, Ken Mamalo back on the wing, Stafford Toa drops back to the extended bench. Jock Madden retains that number 6 jersey. Jackson Hastings still out with suspension. Kelma Tuilangi returns in the back row, and Luke Garner moving back to the bench. It's got to be a big Titans win.
It does. And
I expect the Tigers to be better, but I think at home the Titans will run away with this one.
Yeah, I think. I mean, James Roberts comes back. Kelma Tuilangi, who's a good back row, he's back in that side. But, mate, yeah, I'm picking a Titans win, but David Fafita really needs to up his game.
It's been anonymous, hasn't he?
Mate, I didn't realise that he played 80 minutes last week. I thought he'd been off. Yeah, I mean, $1 million price tag on him. And we talk about the $1 million players all the time. Are they worth their money? He really needs to step up and start. I mean, if the Titans are having like 30 sets ball, you'd expect Fafita to have 30 touches of the ball in that game. He should be touching the ball, once in a set. He shouldn't be for the ball to come to him on an edge. He should go looking for it, doing something in the middle for his forward mates. He's been a little bit disappointed. Yeah. But I'm tipping him to maybe step up this week. Back at home, the Titans at Seabus Super Stadium. Stadium. I'm going to say Titans 13+. I think it's going to be a big win.
Mm-hmm.
The first of the Friday night games. Friday night, 2 cracking games of footy. The Sharks versus the Knights. For the Sharks, CSC Talakai moves to the centres for the injured Connor Tracy, who's succumbed to his HIA. Pre-Jack Burns on the wing. Matt Ikavalu drops off the squad. He's back in the shop cell this week. And Teague Wilton returns from suspension into the back row. Kalen Pong has been named at fullback, but he'll obviously have to pass a fitness test for the Knights. He's been missing the past 2 weeks. Brody Jones, the man neck, named in the back row for the suspended Mitch Barnett. Jira Mamasia, what a name, Jira Mamasia. He's named on the bench, and Suasu named on the bench as well. Mate, this could go anyway. I've tipped the Sharks 1-12.
Looking forward to this one. Yeah.
So am I. Dane Gagger's been great for the Knights in his 3 games at the Knights. I think Clifford and Clune have been the real surprise packet. Their halves combination is gone nicely. For the Sharkies, yeah, Nico Hines is just playing outstanding. I'll tip the Sharks 1-12 on the back of their interchange bench. Aidan Tolman playing his 300th game this week too. So
yeah, well, big effort.
Congratulations to him. Yeah, they got McInnes, they got Fafita, and they got Trindle off that bench. It's a nice looking. So yeah, my tip's Sharks.
I agree. I think the Sharks will have just a little bit too much here. It's home game for them as well, so I might give them the slight edge. Moving on to the main game, the second game on Friday night, we've got the Panthers up against the Rabbits. Another cracking game, as you said. For the Panthers, they welcome back the Cyborg. Nathan Cleary himself is back in the halves. Liam Martin and James Fisher-Harris both named on the extended bench, and if passed, you would expect them both to play. For the Bunnies, no changes to their side that beat the Roosters last week, and Blake Taft was named on the extended bench. I think the Panthers are going to continue to march on, and I expect them to get the win here to repeat the result of the grand final. A fairly close victory, I would say, though.
Yeah, for me, tipping the Panthers in this one, but the issue will be Nathan Cleary. No Sean O'Sullivan on the bench, no Sean O'Sullivan on the extended bench. So interesting that if the Rabbits are going to run some traffic at that Cleary and see if he can handle it. And if he doesn't pull up well out of this game, it could get ugly for the Panthers with Jamin Salmon, the only got to play in the halves. And yeah, I don't know. I'm tipping the Panthers, and I'm hoping Cyborg gets through unscathed. But we'll have to. Saturday, moving on to Saturday, first game on Saturday at Moreton Daly Stadium, the Warriors' first home game of 20.
Baby.
Warriors versus for the Warriors. Jack Murchie is the change to the Warriors 17 from last week. Bailey Sirenen out with COVID. Sean Johnson named on the bench, as we said, on the extended bench, and if fit, will definitely play. No changes to the Broncos side, beaten convincingly by the Cowboys last week. It was an interesting one. Mate, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Warriors 13 plus in this one. The Broncos don't know how to play daytime footy. It's going to be too early on a Saturday afternoon. Yeah, I'm going to say Warriors 13 plus.
Hey,
Betting
mate,
with my heart, not my head.
it's got to be nothing other than a nervous 4-point victory. We know that.
Jacko, we know that the Warriors' home is Mount Smart, but this is their home for the home games for the first part of this, mate. So
home away from home. You guys will get
home
them
away
back
from home.
before you know
They'll be
it.
home soon, mate. They'll be home soon.
Okay, moving to the second game on Super Saturday, we have the Sea Eagles versus the Raiders. Another great game. The Sea Eagles, Andrew Davey named in the run-on side, Ethan Bullymore dropping back to the bench, and Josh Aloiai named on the extended bench. Raiders, no change to the side that came back from the 22-point deficit last week. Ryan Sutton and Xavier Savage both named on the extended bench. This is a tough one to pick. I'm going to say the Sea Eagles will build off that 1-point win like they did last year against us, and I think they'll be big improvers. I think the Sea Eagles can get away with this one in a close one, 1-12.
I'm tipping the Raiders, mate. I make no secret of the fact that I'm a massive fan of the Raiders pack. Whitehead, Harawira, Hudson Young, Tarpanay, Starling. I love that pack. Adam Elliott has been great for them coming off the bench this year. Jordan Rapana adds another dimension to their attack now that he's back from his suspension. I think Manly is trying to find their feet. The 1-point win will do them well, but I'm tipping the Raiders 1-12.
Okay.
The last game on Saturday, another game of footy, the Cowboys versus the Roosters. The high-flying Cowboys versus the clipped-winged Roosters. No changes to the high-flying Cowboys side sitting in the top 4. Jermaine Tanoa-Brown and Drinkwater biding their time on an extended bench. No changes to the Roosters 13, with Nat Butcher retaining his starting spot and Lord Farquhar himself and Brighton named on the interchange bench. Daniel Saluka-Fafita, he's named on the interchange bench for Fletcher Baker. Joseph Suwali still not named on the extended bench. He's biding his New South Wales Cup. I can't believe I'm going to say this. The Cowboys at home, 1-12.
I was swaying with this one. I still think the Roosters have a little bit too much strike power for the Cowboys, and if they get it together, I think they'll be able to come away with a narrow victory up there. 1-12 Roosters, yes. So on Sunday, Storm versus the Bulldogs. And Storm, Xavier Coates returns on the wing for the Storm. Harry Grant returns from his COVID exile. And the Hectic Cheese named at 14. And for the Doggies, Braden Burns on the wing. Aaron Shoop named in the centres. Brandon Wakeham retains the halfback spot. Jake Averillo, Jaden Ockenbaugh, and Kyle Flanagan all named on the extended bench. I think that the Storm will have a bit of a field day here. 13 plus.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Josh Adokar is going to look across the side of the field and think, what if? Why did I do this? Why am I here? That guy's wearing my jersey. I want to come home. Mate, I expect Brandon Smith to start. I think Josh King will drop back to the interchange bench. Kenny Bromwich has been great for the Storm. That spine of Joe Dirt, Cameron Munster, Jerome Hughes, and Harry Grant. And I think, the Bulldogs are going out. They've been brave, the Bulldogs, in their 3 games this year.
Yeah.
They've only had a couple of points put on them each game, but I think they'll be found out. I'm tipping the big one to the Storm.
Yeah.
And the last of the round is the Eels versus the Dragons. The Eels, no changes to the 13 that beat the Storm last week. The only change is Ryan Madison returns from injury, replacing last week's hero, Ray Stone Cold, on the bench. Bryce Cartwright also on the bench for his first game of 2022. For the Dragons, Matt Feagai in the wing for the injured Cody Ramsey. Moses Umbai retains the number 9 jersey. Interesting stat about Moses: in his whole career, while wearing the 9 jersey, he has never won an NRL game.
Is that right? Never won an NRL game at 9. That's amazing.
Playing at the Bulldogs, at the Tigers, he's never won an NRL game wearing the 9 on his back.
Did he play 9 in the 2014 grand final? I think he did, didn't he? Yeah, because Ennis was suspended. He did. Anyway.
Yes, he did. Jack Kajewski earns himself a starting back row spot, pushing the bedbug Jack DeBellin back to the bench. Aaron Woods returns from injury. He's named on the bench. I've tipped the Eels 1-12, but I think it's be 13 plus.
I was just going to say, I think the Eels 13 plus. The Dragons, after getting off to that hot start against us, kind of been found out a little bit. So, and the Eels are looking quite strong. And the confidence that they'll take away from beating Melbourne in Melbourne will be enormous.
I think so too.
Yeah, guys, don't forget our live shows coming up. Upcoming live chats and events in 2022. So every Tuesday we've got an NRLW breakdown. Next week will be our semi-final review and our grand final preview. And every Wednesday our Warriors review. And next week will be our round 4 review. Of course, we'll continue to make those connections with the former players to bring you more of those interviews that you guys really enjoy. And keep an eye out on our events page and Facebook for any fan pre-game meetups. So there's going to be a pre-game meetup for this Saturday's game at Redcliffe, and we'll be at Dolphins Leagues Club there. And that will be starting from about 12 o'clock, I believe.
Something like that.
Round 10, Magic Round fan meetup at the Lord Alfred Hotel. You won't want to miss this. 12 p.m. on Saturday, 14th of May. Special guests, Warrior number 76, Mark Tukey, Warrior 86, Kevin Campion, and Warrior 127, Grant Ravelli have been confirmed starters so far, hoping that we might be able to entice a few more of our former legends to come along, but we'll keep you posted on that.
Absolutely. And just a reminder that we are on Patreon. It's our membership subscription support platform that enables you guys, our followers, to show your support of us and the content we provide by signing up for a monthly subscription. Any fan meetups from Mount Smart Games this year? I'm pretty sure there will be, mate. Haven't heard anything. We won't be at the first Mount Smart game. We're kind of allowing. We've been lucky enough to be at a lot of games over the past 2.5, 3, going into 3 years now, with the Warriors being based here. So that's something for the New Zealand fans. We don't want to take tickets away from New Zealand fans. We are hoping to come across for the last game of the season against the Titans. But I have been speaking to the Mad Butcher, and there may be, for that first game against the Tigers, the Butcher's Lounge may be reopening for that special occasion. So let people know what's going on with that. But I'm sure there'll be some New Zealand fans that'll be organising some meetups, most definitely. But yeah, we are on Patreon, guys. It supports multiple tier levels to suit all budgets. But for now, we've just got our bronze tier up and running.
Yeah, that's right. And you can head to our Patreon page. The link is there on the page, and you can show your support and subscribe to our bronze tier, which is set at the lowest amount possible. That's just $3 a month, which is next to nothing. And we've also partnered with Torius Screen Print to produce a range of merchandise for us, which will be available soon. So they've produced our Steve Price shirts. And while I think of it, I've just picked up all our Steve Price shirts for all you guys that have ordered them. So thanks very much for you guys. And we'll be getting in touch with you to get your addresses to get them sent out to you as soon as possible. That's our Torius merchandise. So keep an eye out for some more items that we'll be releasing soon. And there will be some items of merchandise that will be strictly for Patreon when we work out our new Patreon packages. And that will only be available from our silver, gold, diamond, and platinum subscribers once those tiers are available on Patreon.
Absolutely. And we just want to thank our bronze tier subscribers, Daniel Delore, Peregrine Falconer, Sean Kurzweil, Fabian Moraa, Stevie Williams, Christian Catley, Alf Tuolave, TK Harris, Ted Clark, Inamete, Lisa Marie Bateman, Ken Wills, Nigel Phillips, Kane Fraser, Jermaine Downs, Malcolm Earnshaw, and Dennis Danzo. We thank you guys very, very much.
Yes, I'd just like to echo that. Thank you so much for your support. Guys, don't forget, if you do miss any of our live shows, you can catch up on our Facebook page by going to our videos section. or you can go to our YouTube channel to catch up there. The easiest way to find any of our content, though, is to go to our link tree. The link is there on the screen there as well. And that will be direct links to all of our live guest interviews and special presentations. And don't forget, when you're on YouTube, to subscribe to our channel so you never miss any of our stream content. It doesn't cost a thing, And speaking of YouTube, I'm going to be hopefully getting my first episode of Roo Remembers done tomorrow morning, and hopefully that'll be up at some point tomorrow. And that'll be talking about my journey to becoming a rugby league and a Warriors fan. And I'll also be remembering our very first game, March 10, 1995. So if you're a bit nostalgic, tune into that.
Absolutely. If you're a podcast fan, you can catch all our episodes on the podcast platforms. We make sure you subscribe to us there. We upload our episodes so that they're there ready to listen to on Thursday morning. So you guys can. One question, boys. What was your guys' Supercoach scores for round 3? Oh, mate, seriously, I'll tell you now. I'll tell you. Last year in Supercoach, I averaged like 1,100 every week. I was going so good. This year,
not so super.
My mate, I got 881, and I'm averaging 845. I am having a shocking year because I bought guys that are normally good Supercoach earners, like Cody Walker. I took the plunge and I had Tommy Trbojevic for the first 2 rounds. I got rid of him, so I bought him at 1.2 million. I sold him at 1.2 million and bought in Tedesco, and he didn't do much better. I do have Nico Hines though, so he's been the saving grace. But yeah, awful. Supercoach is awful this year.
Just
absolutely
frightening
awful
stuff. Yeah.
That's it for tonight's show, mate.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Thank you to all you guys who continue to watch and support Roo and Hammer. It's very much appreciated. Great to have a lot of activity in the chat window there, and thank you guys for contributing to the conversation. That's what it's all about. We love nothing more than talking footy. We're just a couple of fans talking footy with all you guys. So thanks again. If you're
at the game at Redcliffe on Saturday, or if you're at the meetup beforehand at Dolphins Leagues Club, come and say hello to us. As Rob said, we're just 2 Warriors fans that do this, just for the sake of putting some content out there for Warriors fans to watch and follow. So yeah, if you're up there at the game, come and say hello. Can't miss us. We're 2 ugly guys that'll probably be sitting at the front.
Yeah, awesome, guys. Well, thanks very much again for joining us. And we will, if we don't see you at the game on Saturday, we will see you next Tuesday and then next Wednesday for our shows. But in the meantime, stay safe, everyone, and go the Warriors.
Go the Warriors. Yeah.